further, regret not taking opportunities, regret not creating opportunities. I would hate to get to the end of my life and honestly look back and go, Mitch, you played it safe that whole time. You could have done so much more. That would fucking break me.
Hey mate, I'm Coach Mitch and welcome to the Unbreakable Man podcast. It's my goal to help you achieve excellent results in the area of your health and physical fitness, your career or business, your relationships, and in your own personal passions. This is going to be your one-stop shop if you are the kind of man who wants to achieve his fullest potential in life. And the only way to do that is by becoming unbreakable.
What's up, brother? Coach Mitch here, and welcome to today's episode of the Unbreakable Man podcast. Now, in today's episode, I wanted to talk about something that I hear from a lot of guys that I might speak to about wanting to improve themselves. And this is something that they tell me is the reason why they're struggling to consistently put the practices in place that they know they need to make the changes they're looking for. And they'll tell me, they say that they're not motivated. I can't find the motivation, Mitch. I just don't feel motivated. And we'll deep dive into how important motivation is throughout this episode and whether that's the thing that we actually need or should be looking for or not. But I want to start off by saying that I can understand people's desire to want to feel motivated. I can understand why guys will say that that is the thing that's blocking them from getting to where they want to get to. Because what is it that we really mean when we say, I want to feel motivated? What is that feeling? Like, if we had to narrow that down, what are we talking about? Well, we're talking about those times where we're just in this state of flow, where the work is, it just comes easy. It comes easy. The ideas are coming to us. The desire to want to push ourselves and be really productive is right there for the picking. You know, you've had those days in your life where you just smash everything out and you're like, oh my goodness, I got so much done today. You know, I achieved so many of my goals today. Who wouldn't want to feel like that all the time? And we can talk about how you can create that sort of feeling more often as well throughout this episode too. But I can totally understand why that is the feeling that we're looking for, because it's such a productive way to be. Now, the problem with that feeling, and we all know this, is that feeling's pretty fleeting. You know, some days we just feel good. We just feel energized. We just feel focused. We just feel ready to attack the things on that list of stuff that we know we need to get done. Not just for our work or our families, but for ourselves as well. And those days are fantastic, but they're just few and far between for a lot of people. You know the days I'm talking about. But how bloody good would it be if you could feel like that every day, or even every second day, or even once or twice a week? But the fact of the matter is that for most of us, that might only happen once a month, or a couple of times a year, or maybe even less than that. And we all know that if we are only taking action when we feel like that, and that's only happening once in a blue moon, then we are not going to create the results that we're looking for, because we need consistency. So I can understand why guys say that to me, and I can understand why guys are touting that as something that they feel like they really need, because it would be nice. It really would be. Now, you then also have this whole crowd of people that say motivation is crap. What you need is discipline. And that's a great point too, because discipline is about doing the things that you need to do, whether you feel like doing them or not. Just consistently showing up. And that's awesome as well. Like, if you could just be the person that would do that all the time, you would also most likely create the results that you're looking for, because you're doing the work. In either instance, whether you felt motivated all the time and you did the work because of that, or you were just a super disciplined person and you did the work all the time, in both of those cases, you would be the kind of guy who's living the life that he's trying to live. Because in both of those cases, you're putting in the work. Now, I'm not one of those people that thinks motivation is crap. And that might surprise you a little bit, because I'm pretty tough on the guys that I train. I'm pretty tough on myself. And I am all about being the kind of guy that does the work whether they feel like it or not, or whether it's convenient or not. Because at the end of the day, the work needs to be done. That's what produces the results. But I'm not the kind of person that thinks motivation is crap. Because I think that motivation and discipline are two things that go hand in hand. I don't think that one can exist without the other. Let's break these two things down so you can understand what I'm talking about. And as we go through this podcast episode as well, I'm hoping to change your perspective on what getting motivated, feeling motivated means, and also to give you some ideas and a real, honest, accurate, realistic perspective of motivation in your life and how you can have more of it. So let me tell you, first of all, why I think that discipline can't exist without motivation. You know, there's all that crowd of people. You might be one of them right now who's telling me, Mitch, motivation is absolutely bullshit. I'm a disciplined person. I do the work regardless. Well, here's the thing. For you, my friend, as this disciplined guy who always does the work regardless of how he feels, think about why you are disciplined. Think about what it is that your discipline produces in your life. Your discipline produces a result for you, a result that you obviously quite like because you repeat the pattern and you repeat it regardless of how uncomfortable it is for you to repeat that pattern. That's a fantastic trait. But the fact of the matter is that I believe that it's motivation that helps us create discipline. Because not a single one amongst us is disciplined for no reason at all. We are disciplined because our discipline creates a result that we are motivated to achieve, something that we really want in our life. And that's why motivation, I believe, is so important, because you can be motivated, on a daily basis, and that's great. But I think that motivation can also be something that kind of encompasses your whole life. Like there's an underlying foundation of motivation that drives those disciplined actions over and over again, because we know that it takes a lot of effort over a lot of time to create a really, truly meaningful, satisfying outcome in our lives. And we are motivated to do that. So I think that discipline over a long period of time requires motivation, because we are consistently putting in that work to produce an outcome that we are really motivated to get. None of us would be disciplined if our discipline didn't produce an outcome that we were looking for. So it's a motivation, it's a motive, a reason that produces that discipline within us. I'm a pretty disciplined person. I consistently show up each week in the areas that I think are most important to me to produce a result that I'm looking for. Because I think it's going to get me to this thing. Because I think it's going to create an outcome for me that I really want in my life. And I think about that outcome every single time I take an action that I don't want to take, that's uncomfortable. I think about the outcome, and that outcome motivates me to be disciplined. Now, on the other hand, how is it that we need discipline in order to feel motivated? Well, the connection in the other direction is this. The reason why people say not to rely on motivation is because it's fleeting. If our only idea of how we feel motivated is just waiting for those days when those feelings sporadically come up for us, then I think we're missing a huge chunk of the opportunity to feel motivated, because that's not the only way you get motivated. In fact, that's 5% of the way that you can feel motivated, that you can feel energized and focused on the things that you're trying to do in your life, even if they're uncomfortable and difficult. That's a small portion of the days that you could be feeling motivated. The other 95% is this. Most people get it wrong when they think about how motivation occurs. We have the idea of, I will feel motivated, then I'll take an action, and then I'll get results. That's most people's ideas of motivation. The problem is that that feeling of motivation just doesn't come up often enough when it's random. It just doesn't happen often enough to make any kind of a difference. But what I think is true is you need to flip the order of those things around. Because the truth is You take an action, you get a result, and then you feel motivated because you got a result. Most people have the motivation at the start of this process, when in actual fact, the motivation most of the time is at the end of it. And it's discipline that helps us take that initial action, despite not feeling motivated in the moment, to create the result, which then provides us with the motivation to keep going. For example, this is the second podcast episode that I have recorded today. And there's been a few processes in place to motivate me, there's been a few processes in place that I use to keep myself disciplined in producing these podcast episodes, because it takes some effort. I need silence in the house, and it can only really occur during a certain set time of the day. So I'm not necessarily always feeling motivated and super inspiring when I go to produce these videos and these podcasts. However, they still need to be done. But this is the second one I've done today, and I had to get 2 done this week. I did the first one. I felt good about getting one of those things done, and now I'm motivated. Man, I can get the second one done today, and that's it, done. I've completed my podcast episodes for the week. So my motivation to do the second episode came from doing the first one. It was action, result, get the first one done, motivation, and then that motivation then leads to more action, which is going to lead to more result, getting 2 podcast episodes done today. So that's how discipline feeds into motivation. Those 2 things, they work off each other. We are disciplined because we're motivated to create an outcome. And we are motivated because we take consistent disciplined action, which gets us results that we're looking for. And that motivation we get from those results helps us produce more results and more motivation. And we get this cool upward spiral that allows us to create all of this stuff. So I don't think that motivation is crap. I don't think that discipline is the only thing that we need, because those 2 things cannot exist without each other. You need to be both motivated and disciplined at the same time in order to produce the long-term results that you're looking for in your life. So, like I was saying, this episode now is about giving you some ideas to help you get motivated. And once again, how discipline can help feed into that. Because we have this silly idea that motivation just appears and disappears in our life at random. And that is true. We'll have those days where we just feel more pumped up than others. But we can't rely on those days. And we know that. And a lot of those disciplined people, that's when discipline comes in, on the days when we don't feel like it. However, that's not going to happen without having a motivating driving force behind us. So I want to give you a couple of tips that you can use right now to help you feel more motivated right now. The first thing is I want to break down the word motivation. Break it down into its main basic part. Just take the first 2 syllables of that word, motive. So what does that mean? What is a motive? A motive is a reason. A motive is a why. And I think that for most of us, the reason we don't feel motivated is because we don't know what our reason for taking action is. We haven't sat down and asked ourselves the question, why do I really want to do this? Why do I want to improve myself? Why do I want to find a beautiful person to start a relationship with? Why do I want to improve my business? Why do I want to build strength and muscle? Why do I want to go and have some epic experiences in my life? And because we don't have a driving reason, an underlying motive for that difficult thing that we want, we don't have that energy and focus to drive us in the direction of that thing. We don't have the energy and focus to help us consistently take the actions we need to take to create the outcome. So you've got to find a reason. If you want to feel motivated, you need to know why it is that you're going to show up every single fucking day and do some hard shit that doesn't feel comfortable and that you don't necessarily feel like doing. You know, again, I'm a motivated person. I love motivation. I try to create as much motivation for myself in my life as I possibly can, because that is the best way to work. You know, I love discipline too. I'll show up on days when I don't feel like it, and that's super duper important. But if I could feel motivated every day, that would be the best. So these are some of my driving reasons, and they've got to be big. They can't be small, little boring things that you don't really give a shit about. These are the underlying things why you are doing all of the things that you're doing in your life to better yourself and improve your circumstances. So number one for me is I want to feel confident within myself. I always want to feel confident. I think about, for me, it's like, I know what it feels like to just be switched on, super sharp, and saying the right things, doing the right things, and see how that impacts how I feel about myself and how the world responds to me, and how other people feel about that too. And I love that feeling when I feel really confident about myself and what I'm doing and how I'm acting and the results I'm getting. That's the best. I want to feel like that every single day, and I'm motivated to become the kind of person that can feel like that as often as possible. Number two on my list is I want to create a really great, meaningful relationship, and I want it to be something that I can sustain over time. I want that same feeling that I get in the creation of the relationship throughout the maintenance of the relationship too. You know, and there'll be a lot of, you might be listening to this right now thinking that's not possible. You know, once you've been with someone for a certain amount of time, you know, it's just not the same. And, you know, I hope that's not the case. You know, maybe that's true. I'm sure there'll be changes over time. However, if I could make it so that my intimate relationship was still satisfying, meaningful, passionate, exciting, regardless of the length of the relationship, you know, as even as time goes by, for it to still feel like that, that's a really important thing to me. And in my mind, the main thing required of me to do that is for me to consistently grow and improve myself. I've taken on the responsibility of that by going, I need to be better in order to consistently have that sort of feeling in my relationship. If I stagnate, my relationship stagnates too. So there's a lot of motivation there for me to continue to improve and upskill myself. Another one for that as well is over the next sort of 5 to 7 years, I want to start a family. And not only do I want to have children, but I also want to be in a position where I can spend as much time raising my kids as possible. You know, I see a lot of people out there who have to outsource raising their kids to childcare centers and to schools and to, carers and all that kind of stuff. And I don't trust anyone else to raise my kids. I want to raise my kids. I want to make sure that I'm instilling the values and the beliefs in them that are going to help them throughout life. And in order for me to have that experience as a father, I'm going to have to set myself up really, really well right now so that I have the freedom and the ability to take that time when the time comes. So again, I'm motivated right now to do the fucking work for my future children that aren't even here yet, that I have no intention of having a kid in the next 1, 2, 3 years. But I'm working my ass off now, 5 to 7 years in advance, to have that sort of experience. And I know I need to do this now. I'm motivated as a result of that desire. And the last one on this list, and the biggest one for me, is that I want to feel like I've maximized my potential in life. I do not want to get to the end of my life and regret not doing shit, regret not trying harder, regret not pushing myself further, regret not taking opportunities, regret not creating opportunities. I would hate to get to the end of my life and honestly look back and go, Mitch, you played it safe that whole time. You could have done so much more. That would fucking break me. So I'm very, very, very motivated to consistently show up and put in the disciplined work right now to create the long-term results that I'm looking for. I'm very fucking motivated. You must have a reason. If you don't have a good enough reason right now, you're going to struggle to get motivated. But that's the underlying, that's the baseline of motivation for me. Like, I layer a lot of shit on top of that. And I have to remind myself of those things consistently to motivate myself in the moment, to do the disciplined work, to create the result that I'm looking for. So that's a huge thing. If you want to feel motivated, you need a fucking good reason. If you haven't got a reason right now, figure it out. What the fuck do you want in your life? Who do you want to be and why? Why is that going to make a big difference for you? And that's probably the most important thing I could say about motivation, because that's the foundation. Everything's going to come back to that. Now, some other simple little things that you could do to get yourself motivated in the moment. In the moment, right? Because sometimes we don't always come back to those big things. We just need a little shot of motivation right now. One of the first things that you could do, simple, easy, move your body. Do something. If you're sitting on the couch right now and you want to feel motivated, get your fucking ass up. Give me 10 push-ups. Just bang, straight away. See how you feel after you start to move yourself. Or open up the door, go for one lap of the block, and then see how you feel. It doesn't have to be anything crazy. You don't have to do a whole workout. It could literally be 30 seconds worth of exercise. Just getting mobile is going to start to wake your body up, wake your brain up, and put you in a better state of mind to start taking action on some of those things that you know you need to get done right now. That's a very simple thing. Move. If you're in a posture or a position that is relaxed, that is low energy, which is fine. If you want to relax, relax. But if you want to get some shit done, then you need to change your posture so that you're in a position of movement, energy, go, go, go. That's the kind of position you want to put your body in right now, and your brain will respond to the fact that you've moved yourself in that way. So it's a very, very simple thing that you could do. Another thing that you could do, just as a routine to have in your life to help you get motivated, is what is the content and the information that you consistently surround yourself with? If I was to open up your phone right now and look at your YouTube account, your Instagram, Facebook, or even just, the apps that you might go to most often, am I going to find things that are inspiring? Am I going to find things that are informative? Am I going to find things that are motivating, that are providing you with ideas and perspectives that are helping you take action in your life? Or am I going to find stupid shit like memes? Am I going to find porn? Am I going to find, dumb cat videos or something like that? And if those things are on your phone, okay, it's your choice, man. It's your life. You expose yourself to whatever it is you want to expose yourself to. However, don't get annoyed about the fact that you don't feel motivated if you are choosing not to consume anything that's motivating. That's your choice. You can create your virtual environment in a way that helps push you to get your ass up off that couch, to get your ass to the gym, to start to think in ways that are more productive for you in your life. And that's such a simple thing that you can do. Like, if you're listening to this right now, the best thing you could do right after listening to this episode is go onto your Instagram or whatever your favorite social media is, or way that you receive information, and curate it a bit. Go through it and go, okay, well, what on this app is helping me and what is not helping me? And all the shit that is not helping you, get rid of it. It's a distraction. It's bringing you down, slowing you down in life, and keeping you stuck in this place that you are right now. Once you've figured out what those shit things are, get rid of them. And once you can see some of the things on there that are good for you, that are motivating, that do make you want to push yourself, that do give you some really productive and exciting ideas for your life, start to add more of those things into those places in your life so that you see them more often. You're surrounded by things that are giving you ideas and filling you with energy and the desire to push yourself. That's such a basic thing that you could do right now, super duper easily. So let's leave it at that. The main thing you could do is have a motive in your life, have a reason, a why, something that's driving you forwards, something powerful that you really do give a shit about. And one of the things I find with a lot of people is they just don't know what they want in life. All right, if that's you, then expect to be blown around all over in life. You're going to be used and moved by other people who do know what they want, until you actually decide to sit down and ask yourself, who do I want to be? How do I want my life to look? Until you've done that, you're always going to be in this situation. You're always going to have to just hope and pray that you feel motivated on a given day to get shit done. But if you have a deep, meaningful reason to do the work consistently, then you are going to be the kind of guy that's showing up regardless of how he feels. You'll have the discipline because you've got the motivation. The next thing is move your body. Your physical body has a huge impact on how you feel upstairs. If you aren't moving very much, then I'm not surprised that you don't feel motivated. You're not acting motivated. Your body isn't moving like a motivated body. And you might think, oh, I need motivation to move. Well, you actually don't. You could just move and then the motivation will come as a result. Remember what we said before. It isn't motivation, action, result. It's action, result, motivation. The action comes first. Take the action. The action will lead to the motivation that you are looking for. Move your body. And last but not least, curate the information that you are exposing yourself to on a regular basis. Surround yourself with motivating topics, with motivating speakers, with motivating content, with motivating people. Get your environment is another huge one. But you have your virtual environment that you control on your phone. You're constantly seeing things, and it's up to you to decide what things you want to be shown. You have full power over that. And then you also have full power over who you decide to surround yourself with. You surround yourself with people who are consistently taking action. The likelihood that you're going to be the kind of person that consistently takes action increases. I can't even put a number on it, but it's a big one, okay? It makes a huge, huge difference in your life. So with that said, start taking those actions. Start putting them in place. Feel the motivation that comes as a result of that. And, if you are a man who is lacking motivation, firstly, like I said, put those things in place. If you want to find a motivating environment for yourself and you live on the Gold Coast, you want to get in great physical and mental shape, come down and join Unbreakable Man. Snap Fitness, Pacific Pines, that's where we train out of. And the environment that you will be stepping into by deciding to join us is going to be very, very different from anything else that you are likely to experience in your day-to-day life, at your work, at your home, or even with your current group of mates. If you have a really motivating current group of mates, then fantastic. You're already well on your way, right? But if you aren't that kind of guy, then you could slot right into this team because we love taking on new guys. We love seeing fellas go from struggling with their physical and mental health and lacking that confidence in themselves, making one little commitment to better themselves and then surrounding themselves with a bunch of like-minded and motivating people, and then seeing them push through all of the previous barriers that they said were too difficult for them to push through. That's fucking inspiring. We get a lot of energy and motivation from seeing guys like yourself make this decision and go through the process. So it's kind of almost like we trade motivation. We give you some motivation, and then we get motivated from seeing the hard work that you put in as a fella that was once unsure about himself and his ability to succeed, to now become the kind of guy who's consistently putting in the work and creating great results. When we see that, it motivates the hell out of us because it just reinforces the evidence that we already have that this shit works. The physical fitness, that having open, honest conversation amongst men and surrounding yourself with motivated, like-minded dudes, the evidence that makes a huge difference in someone's life. When you come in and you push and you show us that it's possible, that just increases the evidence that we have and increases our ability to push as well. So if that's you, man, check out unbreakableman.com.au, or you can always email me at mitch@unbreakableman.com.au. All right, with that said, brother, have a fantastic rest of your day, and I can't wait to speak to you again on the next episode. Cheers. Hey, mate, I hope you enjoyed that episode of the Unbreakable Man podcast. If you did, it would be absolutely fantastic if you could leave us a 5-star review, because that's going to help us get our message in front of more men who need to hear it. Now, if you have some feedback for me, I'd love to hear that too. Comment down below. And if you just need some mini doses of Unbreakable Man motivation throughout your week, then you can follow us across all social platforms. On Facebook, it's Unbreakable Man Challenge. On Instagram, it's Unbreakable Man_challenge. And on TikTok and YouTube, it's just Unbreakable Man. Your support would be absolutely invaluable.
Now, last but not least, do not forget, men aren't born, they're built.